We are reacting this morning to the news we learned of last night. That's the passing of longtime Major League manager Jimy Williams. 12 years skippering in the big leagues. He had great runs in Toronto, Boston, and in Houston. In 1999, he was the American League Manager of the Year. Started his big league managerial career with the Toronto Blue Jays. Spent 4 years there. And somebody who played for Jimy in all 4 of those years, Hall of Famer Fred McGriff, joins us on the line on this Tuesday morning. Fred, good morning. Condolences for the loss that you're certainly feeling when we learned that Jimy Williams had passed yesterday. And if you were to walk back to those seasons in the late 80s, early 90s, what are the things you think of when you remember playing for Jimy?
Matt, well, first off, let me say that it's a pleasure to be on the show this morning, right? With you and Mr. Darling. See, I had to call him Mr. Darling, right? Because Ron has some great stuff, right? And he would come right at you. I mean, he wasn't scared, dude, you know, so he got me most of the time, but I remember getting him a time or two. I got him a time, but I must ask him, Ron, now, Ron, how's your brother doing, Ed?
Well, that's interesting. He must have played with Ed in the minor leagues, right? In Paintsville,
exactly.
Was it Paintsville, Kentucky, or?
Back in the day, I met him down in Bradenton.
Oh, there you go.
Either instruction league or something, but yeah, he was a good dude.
He's doing great. He's doing great. Thank you
he's
for
doing
asking.
great. That's awesome. No, but Jimy was a great man. I mean, Jimy was my first manager that I ever had up in the big leagues. And then Jimy was the third base coach for the Braves while I was in Atlanta. So I've spent many days and hours with Jimy because Jimy was like a tireless worker, man. This guy, he would hit me ground balls all the time. I mean, up in Toronto and in Atlanta. And so my prayers and thoughts go out to the family and his sons, Sean and Brady, and he was just great to me, man. I mean, he was a big part of my career early on.
You know, Fred, J.P. Morosi was on before, and he was quoting some guys that wrote that Jimy was such a great teacher of the game. What made him such a great teacher of the game?
Oh, I mean, Ron, it was unbelievable. I mean, we would go to spring training, and no matter how many years you had in the league, we would have to go over bunt plays again and base running and so forth. And with Jimy, like Bobby Cox could just sit back and know he was in good hands with Jimy leading the way. But Jimy would just go over all the little stuff that you kind of take for granted or you forget and everything. And he was on it. And the same way defensively, I mean, Jimy was just, like I said, he was just a good person, and he will be missed.
You know, we hear this set of coaches and managers now, Fred, where there are players who might not connect with players who might not connect with a coach or a manager that didn't play in the big leagues for a long time. Jimy played only 2 years in the big leagues, yet that was never a problem for him getting through to his players. Was that your experience with him as well? Was that ever an issue?
Oh, never. You know, Jimy was just always, but the thing about, like I said, he was just on the ball. He didn't miss an I, or, you know, he dotted all his I's and T's, and he just, he was on it, and he didn't miss a beat. And all the players loved Jimy, and they performed for him, and just went out there and played. And early on in Toronto, we had a good team. We had George Bell and Barfield and Mosby and just that whole gang of people, and Jimy had control of it.
Yeah, I want to ask you about Toronto specifically a little bit, Fred, and about that part of your career. We got news today that Justin Turner's signing with the Toronto Blue Jays. And if you were to give somebody a crash course on what it's like playing for the Toronto Blue Jays, given all the differences, currency, travel, etc., what would you tell that player as he's about to start a season in Toronto for the first time?
Well, if you take away the taxes, Toronto is a great city. Now the taxes get you, but when I first started, right, every player got a Honda Accord when I was playing up in Toronto. So we were going around the city, and even though we had the Blue Jays sticker on the side of the car, you know, they gave us the Honda Accords to drive around, and so it's such a great city. And still, with the Dome Stadium and so forth, that makes it great. It's a great ballpark to hit in. And so you're going to absolutely love that place. You know, you got great hidden backgrounds.
I got a hard time imagining the likes of you and Joe Carter fitting into a Honda Accord.
That's right.
Hey, Matt, you find a way.
When it's free.
You know, let's ask you about the Hall of Fame too, Fred, while we have you, because we just learned of the new class. And for you, you know, we're not talking about a guy who's been going up there as an active Hall of Famer for 20 years. It's still a relatively new experience for you. I'm always fascinated by that dinner that the active Hall of Famers attend when you get to Cooperstown. I know that a lot of it's got to stay secret, but bring us into the room if you can, just in terms of the vibe and what it's like to be there with those guys.
Well, Matt, first off, you know, once you get off that stage speaking, right, and you're so happy, right? And so you go to the dinner, and now you got Ken Griffey Jr. and Barry Larkin. They're kind of like the ringleaders and everything. And then they're like, okay, we have the home run hitters table over here, and we have the Punch and Judy hitters over here. So, so it's like, Fred, you over here at this table. You know, hey, don't be sitting over there with those guys, you know? And so it's just a classic because it's only the players and the wives are in another room having a dinner. And so it's just great. Guys are just shooting the breeze and just letting it rip. And because, you know, Matt, they all tell me, they're like, Fred, okay, after this year, this is going to be great for you, you know, because you won't have to worry about your speech and everything. It's going to be beautiful, you know, because they're like, once you get past that, now you can just come back to Cooperstown and you can just relax and enjoy yourself. So I'm looking forward to going back.
Well, I can't believe that there's something called a Punch and Judy hitter table among Cooperstown luminaries. Like, who's? I mean, I'm just picturing it. I know you're not going to tell me, but who would be a Punch and Judy hitter as a Hall of Famer? Who could that be?
Well, I could think of a couple, but I'm not going to say.
Let's go with, let's just say they hit more singles than they hit home runs.
There you go.
I would never dare call the likes of Rod Carew a Punch and Judy hitter just because he hit singles. He hit 5,000 singles,
right.
You know? Hey, Fred, we appreciate the call today. We always love talking to you. Thanks for sharing your memories of playing for Jimy Williams, and we hope to see you real soon.
Appreciate it. Talk to you guys later.
Hall of Famer Fred McGriff.